This is a 1 to 4 player game called Mythwind. I've played around 32 hours now of it solo and about 8 hours of it cooperatively. I played every character, added in all the expansion content. I even built out a pretty big town by now. So what makes this game worth the time investment? Well, let's start with the first reason. The whole point of Mythwind is to develop your character, develop your city, make this whole ecosystem work and run smoothly as it can until it gets thrown some curveballs. But it has that Sims-like, Stardew-like type vibe. See, the first thing that happens is weather's gonna strike your town, and every character has their own way of dealing with it. The farmer here is my favorite character because he is so good at making cheese, paper, money, whatever you want to call it. Like if it rains, then you get to tend to your crops, meaning they get ripe, and then you can sell them later for money. Then you can go on adventures. You can discover more of what's happening to your town. You can spend money so your town has more resources. You can also discover more land and even hire workers, hire spirits to help you out and to do more stuff. The more buildings you build, the more efficient your town becomes. See, that right there is the core Mythwind, and one thing that Mythwind really just excels at. Pretty much investing into your character, developing it out, developing your town, all that is so satisfying and really fun. But I do have one major gripe about this game. Buildings cost a lot in this game, and that's totally fine, right? Because you want that balance between you being able to generate enough income and you investing that income to generate even more the next time around. Like that balance there, it strikes it fine. The issue that I have with it though is that a lot of these buildings have an effect that kind of just rehashes the same thing over and over again. Like you want your buildings to be cool and to make a difference and be unique, right? But unfortunately, a lot of them are like trade resources type of buildings. But what's cool though is that the first expansion, the Expanded Horizons, does add in more buildings. And then you also have the Winds of Magic adding in more unique buildings. So those help alleviate that problem. My hope though is that in the upcoming campaign for Mythwind, that these buildings become much more dynamic and it'll add a lot more fun and variability to the gameplay. Now I know what you might be asking. I'm gonna adjust my glasses so you know that I'm being super serious right now. Tim, why spend so many hours in this game if one major part of it is sort of repetitive in that sense? Like you're trying to build a town. Well, if your town that you're building is something that just keeps repeating effects over and over, like why spend so much time playing this game? Well, that's because everything else about this game completely shines. See, the point of Mythwind is to keep developing your city, right? There's no end game, there's no combat. Honestly, everything about this game is something that I would typically not pick up and play. But for some reason, Mythwind just does so many things right. Let me explain. It's been my go-to de-stressor game. Like it's such a fun game for you to just, after you get out of work, come home, you set it up in literally less than 3 minutes, and everything is just a very, very streamlined system. Usually if there's no combat and there's no end game, count me out. But the story that's here, the way that your city breaks apart and you have to repair it, the curveballs that the game throws at you and how the story unfolds makes it so interesting. And every time you pick it up and play, you just learn something different and ways to react to the incoming situations. Events are such a critical part about this game and why I really love Mythwind. So what do you do on your turn in this game? Well, after weather, every character is trying to build up their engine. You're gonna take a town action, and there are several different town actions you can take. And then after that, you're gonna take a character action, and everyone also has unique character actions too. Like the farmer here is going to plant and harvest and grow livestock and equipment and sell the produce that he makes. The ranger is gonna go out hunting and selling items that he manages to find. The crafter is all about using items and developing them, that way she can sell them. You also have the merchant, which is all about working the market prices and buying out her rivals. That way she can absorb their markets and then make them into her own economical empire. And the innkeeper in the expansion wants to make guests happy so she can upgrade her amenities and she can even bring in more guests and just create a very, very powerful money generating engine. Put simply, you got weather affects the town, and then you have to react to weather. You have your town action, and then you have your character action. And the last part is just upkeep. That's another big highlight of this game, is that once you get used to one system, everything runs very, very smoothly. It's like an almost automated process, and that's why I love playing this game after work, because it really is like a de-stressor. Sure, there are bad things that are happening from time to time, but you don't feel stressed playing this game. It's really relaxing. Although there are some events that just kind of keep you on your toes and still makes it fun to play. And that point right there, like that's so necessary, because then you don't want it to be completely peaceful, right? You want peaceful with this hint of chaos. I love how Mythwind makes it super easy to keep up with this constant cycle of gameplay, but it keeps you invested in that the story matters and what you do matters, and that the choices that you make, it will change the town. That's what's fun. One thing that so many games neglect is the setup and tear down. It is so seamless to just literally load up everything in your tray, stack them up, and you're done. Less than 3 minutes guaranteed. It's crazy. This is one reason why a campaign game like this gets set up and played so easily, because I can take it off my shelf, load up a tray, set it up in less than 3 minutes, load it back again, and just have the table clear. It can be ready to play in just a few moments, and that's why it's so convenient to pick up and play. Bottom line, I'm giving Mythwind a 4.5 out of 5, and here's why. Because at the end of the day, who is this game for? Mythwind is a game for those who want something convenient to set up and play. If you want a story-rich game that's amazing solo, but easy to bring people in at any time to play cooperatively, Mythwind excels at that. It excels at getting people to the table. Show me another system where you can progress your own character at any time and advance it as much as you want, and then have another player starting at like level 0, and you don't have to carry them through a dungeon, right? Because then they can hold their own, and the contributions that they make to your town, they're gonna matter. Everyone that plays matters, no matter how advanced that they are in their character progression. It doesn't matter if my farmer has all these plants and crops ready to harvest, ready to generate 50 coins in one turn, and maxed out skills, because the next person comes in, they're going to add in a particular skill, a particular action to the town, like hiring workers and increasing the number of sprites at the, available at the tower and stuff. Like, all those things will matter when another person comes in. So the way that the game scales for advanced players versus newcomers is beautifully done. Lastly, I love how Mythwind makes you feel relaxed, comfortable, yet interested and invested in the story all at the same time. For me, I love games that have consequences because it keeps the gameplay grounded, it keeps it more realistic. This game does that so well by giving you very difficult decisions sometimes, like there was once a plague and it was your choice to either save the villagers or to get rid of the plague. I'm trying not to spoil too much. Or get rid of the plague itself. It's like get rid of the source or help the people. So I love those very interesting decisions that it pits you in. And then it also changes the town completely because it adds in new event cards that will steer you this direction if you choose to save the townspeople, or steer you this direction if you want to kind of stop the plague itself. Mythwind is a wonderful story with really fun engine building gameplay, and I just cannot recommend this game enough. All right, Wolfpack, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching today's review. If you made it here to the very, very end, comment farmer for the best character in the game. I'll see you on the next one.